As key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
It's the match day 3 of the AFCON 2025 in Morocco. Although the Super Eagles have already qualified for the next round of the championship, but the game against Uganda is as important as other games that Super Eagles has played. 61 goals so far has been scored in this particular championship. It's against 98 that was scored in the group phase of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. Can the Super Eagles and other teams tally up that number or perhaps surpass that number that was seen in 2023? On that note, I welcome you to this edition of Locker Room on Voice of the People TV. I'm Ikechukwu Agwago. Today is another very interesting day to talk football in the world of, African Championship. Of course, we've got other tournaments that will be also rolling up as far as football is concerned. We'll definitely also be looking at what's happening in Europe, particularly the Premier League that is going to be, firing on this evening. As Unai Emery look to upset Mikel Arteta's bid for his very first championship, major honors after taking up the Arsenal, job 5 years ago, or about 6 years ago now, or can Arsenal actually continue that very impressive run that has seen them become the favourite to actually win not just the Premier League, the UEFA Champions League? Joining me to make sense out of this conversation this evening is Jerry Apollo High, who definitely joins from here in the studio. And of course, Maiwa, who will be joining us virtually. Jerry, it's good evening and welcome to Locker Room.
Yeah, it's great to be here on this auspicious day. The Super Eagles takes on Uganda after they've already set qualification for the round of 16. And Nigerians are looking forward to who is going to start. And the pictures already showing that Osihmen, the captain of the team, it shows that the man is not happy that he has only one goal to show for his efforts in 2 games. And of course, you know that Osihmen is the best striker in the world as far as I'm concerned. And we need him firing goals at plenty so that the confidence will ride on to the round of 16. And of course, I can't wait. Uganda will be an easy prey. I was expecting him to get a hat-trick against Tanzania. Maybe today, that hat-trick will come.
Of course, we're looking at this championship. Goals have been, pouring in. Like I said earlier on, 61 goals have been seen so far already. And of course, men leading the goal scoring chart. Ibrahim Diaz of Morocco. El Tabi, of course, the man who is known to have made bicycle kick his signature goals, scored 3 goals as well. And of course, not to also forgetting the man who is in the bid to actually become the greatest Algerian player, even though a lot of persons will, disagree with the man. Talking about Riyad Mahrez. Also 3 goals. And likes of Victor Osihmen, still very much searching for his own run. And Ademola Lookman has also done impressively well. 2 goals so far in this particular championship. And of course, Maiwa joins virtually. Maiwa, good evening and welcome to Locker Room. Maiwa, welcome to Locker Room.
It's always amazing to be here. Super Eagles are again, and I'm hoping that the team are going to play today, especially the players are going to turn up today, will turn up and do a good job. 9 points or no nice. I think we are better than Uganda, and we should be able to beat Uganda, blue and black. So I'm hoping the boys do something this evening. To make Nigerians happy. It's always amazing to be here. Thank you for having me, Kechukwu.
Of course, the game against the Ugandans is already on as head coach of the Super Eagles national team. Talking about Chelle has announced the modification to his starting lineup that we've already seen today in that particular game. Of course, the Super Eagles already secured the round of 16 spot in that particular championship, and Chelle is taking the opportunity to rest key players and give more game time to those who have been underutilized in this particular tournament so far. The likes of Osihmen, who has really not had a lot of minutes in this particular championship. Chukwueze as well will definitely be having, a very few days. But the big question is for Victor Osihmen. I was wondering that he will be one of those players who will be, well rested because of his importance, and of course not to also forget that, our World Cup qualifying rounds, he was one of those players that was injured, and how that is. Injury actually impacted us against DR Congo. I was hoping that, himself and other key players would definitely not, be used today, because whatever it is that happens in other center, I'm talking about the Uganda and Tunisia game, would definitely not change, the Super Eagles being top of the table as the number 1 team on the spot. So I was wondering if Chelle, would have actually just, used an entirely, new fresh set of players instead of this Osihmen and co that's actually bringing this particular game.
Yeah, it's good that Osihmen has the hunger to play every game. That's the hallmark of a player who has passion to play the game. He doesn't care what is at stake. Let's not forget, Rashidi Yekini's record of 37 goals for the Super Eagles is at stake. He needs 5 more goals to equal that record. Who says he can't do it at the big stage as the African Cup of Nations? Imagine he has 3 goals today and 2 more goals to spend in the knockout stages. Who knows? He might equal that record or surpass the record if the Super Eagles get on to be in the final. But with that being said, I hope the coach will not regret the fact that starting Osihmen in this game is putting him in harm's way. Because as you look at it, playing against, talking about Uganda has nothing to lose. They will surely want to come for the scalp. And putting Osihmen in such situation, the players might want to go dirty and go rough. And if anything happens to Victor Osihmen, I think I will be worried going into the knockout stages, which is very, very crucial. And with the way we play this game will determine who will play in the next stage. I hope it's not Morocco, because it looks like we are going to be pairing whoever in from Group A. And as the case may be, I think I would prefer to avoid Morocco. But I'm still waiting to see how the table looks like. That means the Super Eagles needs to win this game and top that group. So this game should not just be taken as one of those games. Yeah, they're looking good because Tunisia too are also strong. They also need to win tonight. And if they win their game, the Super Eagles fail to win this one, which is very, very impossible as the case may be. We will now start looking at who's going to top the table, by how many goals. But it looks like head-to-head favors us against Tunisia. So that's a good advantage already. It kills all of that. But I would like the team to win at least. Let's see the new players. I've seen the team list. I'm really impressed. Ryan Alebiosu. I'm worried about Zoho, but I don't expect Uganda to create a lot of problems for talking about Francis Zoho and, of course, Igor Ogbu. And I'm seeing the midfield pairing, Oyedika alongside Tom Dele Bashiru, which is quite impressive. But I don't know Paul Onacho. Is he going to slow down Victor Osimen's pace? That's also another thing to look out for. I think they're just trying to give Onacho some minutes, but he has to prove himself. Onacho needs to prove himself in this game. He proves himself in this game because Akwa Adams seems like he has won the heart of Eric Chelle. It's going to be difficult to displace him in that team. And I'm also wanting to see Cyril Dessers. I've not heard anything about him so far.
So Mayowa, I mean, look at the starting lineup. Victor Osihmen, leading the lines for the Super Eagles. And of course, Ryan Alebiosu, Victor Ogbu, Kevin Bassey, who is already been booked as we speak right now. He's on yellow card. And Bruno Emechi, Rafael Ndeka, Tom Dele Bashiru, Samuel Chukwueze, Moses Simon, Paul Onacho, and Victor Osihmen. Tell me, which of these players do you think is not supposed to be in this particular lineup as we speak right now?
Kevin Bassey should not be playing. He got involved in a very hard tackle the last time, a couple of minutes ago, and I was a bit scared for him. And, I don't know the reason why, Kevin Bassey is playing. We know that the pairing between him and Semi Ajayi works. I think, should be careful. For the case of Osihmen, I don't have any issue with other players playing. I mean, we've said it that we want to see other players play. And, it's good to see other players, matching up, and we the fans seeing exactly what they can do. For Osihmen, the first game, the match sharpness is not there. He lost a whole lot of chances. Second game too, he wasted a couple of chances before he finally got a goal. So I think playing an Osihmen today, in as much as there is this risk of we are running the risk of getting Osihmen injured. I think playing an Osihmen today, gives him an opportunity to regain his match fitness in front of goal. He has been a bit goal shy in front of goal, and that's the reason why he's not been able to, to score some of the chances that has been given to him. Interestingly, we are playing against a Nigeria and Ikpe Azu, who is playing for Uganda, and I'm hoping he doesn't get a goal against us. The Ugandans, they have everything to fight for. A win for them, and probably give them an opportunity to be one of the best. However, if we don't want to get ourselves into playing much more tougher opponents, I think the best bet for us is to probably draw this game. But I don't think we should be drawing this game. We have enough quality in front of goal that we to do the magic. So, they would have expected, it has not sitting down the bench. Probably see another defender playing instead of a Kevin Bassey.
So, Jerry, I mean, as Coach Eric Chelle, if you are to be in this particular position as coach of the Super Eagles, what would be your very first option, in the attack? You talked about, your concerns for Paul Onacho. Who would you have actually liked to see pair Victor Osihmen in this particular game? I mean, I don't know what you really think about Victor Osihmen starting this particular game, but if Victor Osihmen has to play, who do you think is the best option to actually, play behind or play with Victor Osihmen up front?
Yeah, the coach has already made his decision.
No, I'm putting you in the spot as the coach.
I think Victor Osihmen has proven that he has more say in this team, because ordinarily, with the body language of Eric Chelle, he would love to bench Victor Osihmen for this game. And I think with the fact that Victor Osihmen is not happy that he has only one goal to show for his efforts in the first two games, that is why he wants to take this Ugandan game as an opportunity to add to his goal tally. And that might be the undoing of the team. But let's hope that everything goes positive for the team. He scores quick 2 goals early. Then the coach can say, okay, you've scored your goals. Leave the pitch. Let's reserve it for the knockout stage. But if that doesn't happen, I don't want to see Victor Osihmen playing 90 minutes and he's not happy eventually if he doesn't get a goal. I know what that means. Osihmen is more like this Ronaldo kind of mentality. If he doesn't score, even if the team is winning, you might see he might be happy, but the excitement will not be full. But that hunger, positively, it might be channeled into punishing the Ugandans today. Then, taking a look at his pairing, we all know that Paul Onuachu and Victor Osihmen, they don't mix, but somehow, maybe the coach will try as much as possible to make sure that the two of them mix up. Because eventually, we're going to be seeing 2 players who are quite tall. One is slow, one who's more or less good in assist making, which is really, really not his strength. His strength is more like a finisher who takes advantage of one opportunity, not him playing around with the ball, carrying the ball, and so on and so forth. So he might slow Victor Osihmen down. I just hope that there will not be confusion in that attack. Then, for Samuel Chukwueze and Moses Simon, 2 players who can cross. Chukwueze, if the coach sits him down and use at least like 5 minutes to tell him, please try as much as possible, cross the ball, because you have 2 players who are good on the air. Paul Onuachu can score from the air. Victor Osihmen can score on the air. So 2 of you do all your possible best to make sure that the crosses come, but they should not make it look like it's the only option. They should not be crossing for every opportunity they see, when they can actually run into the box and lay the pass or even make an attempt at goal. They should make sure they have a lot of options. But the option of crossing and nodding has been boosted, that you have 2 players. The corners should be taken advantage of. The set pieces should also be taken advantage of. If they do that, I think we might not worry about the 2 of them. But I see a situation where they might struggle and they might have to change 1 or 2 person, either Osihmen coming out, but for me, I think Onuachu coming out might be the likely option after first 45 minutes of this game.
Mayowa, you look at the Super Eagles lineup and look at the midfield. I mean, we have 2, players in that particular midfield who will definitely be doing the job, in the person of Dele Bashiru and, of course, Raphael Onyedika. Chukwueze might just be the man who is going to play the number 10 role alongside Victor Moses, creating a lot of chances for, Victor Osihmen and Paul Onuachu. How well do you even see this actually working, knowing that these 2 guys have actually not played together before in the heart of the Super Eagles midfield?
I think at the moment they are struggling. The midfield is not well coordinated. The person that is supposed to be carrying the ball is not there. We definitely miss, an Iwobi today. And we definitely miss an Alex Iwobi today. And I expect, a Dele Bashiru to be doing it. But I would have expected to see Akisomiro probably, coming, because, he knows how to move the ball. We've seen him play for Pisa and he's able to do that very well. Then the Bashiru, they've not been doing that job properly. You've not seen them move the ball properly. Most of the balls have been going to, Chukwueze, and Chukwueze cannot play as a 10. We all know. We've not really seen as a 10. And, Jerry said something the other time. It's something that we're supposed to take advantage of the crosses. Chukwueze is hanging on to the ball too much. He has been showboating, to the extent of even losing possession, and that's one of the reasons why he needs to, this is one of the reasons why he's not a regular starter for starting. For me, I think the 2 guys in the midfield, they are not doing the job very well. That's Dele Bashiru, Raphael Onyedika. They are not doing the job very well, and I hope they are able to win the game. And they are supposed to be practically our midfield is dead. There is no they get the ball, they just give the wingers, and that's what we have been seeing in the last 5-10 minutes. I don't think that's the way to go if we want to actually score. For Onuachu Osihmen, I think this is the time for us to use the height of Onachu. Onachu is not getting supplies. It is getting supplies from the, he gets to attract the defender and leave Osihmen free. I think the way they are playing, the way Onachu has been moving so far from, the last 10-15 minutes I've watched, is trying to play behind, Victor Osihmen. However, because our midfield is non-existent at the moment, the passes are not coming in the way they are supposed to come in. And that's the reason why we are not seeing effectiveness. I think if this does not work out, probably we'll get to see a civilization coming in.
I mean, but guys, if there's something I know about every team going to a championship, if there's something particular that I know, is that when a coach is actually picking his team, he picks the first 11 and he also picks the second 11 that are identical. The only difference is the disparity in terms of quality. That okay, these ones are better than these ones. That's why they are in the first 11. Now we have a Wilfred Ndidi, and I want to believe that the man who's supposed to step in for Wilfred Ndidi is Raphael Edeka. Right. I also want to believe that in case of Frank Onyeka, the man who's supposed to step in for Frank Onyeka, okay, we can also look at Raphael Edeka. He can also do the job there very well, or we can decide to actually play a certain Akin Somiro there. And then, interplay, say, okay, Onyeka play as, the Frank Onyeka, and then you play as the Akin Somiro. But I would have preferred Onyeka to play in place of Wilfred Ndidi. Now, in the case of Alex Iwobi, there's a Tochukwu Nnadi, who is also, a natural ball player in the middle of the midfield. I also would love to actually see him. What does this say about Eric Chelle? Because I see you take these guys. I want to expect that in a games like this, that feels like a dead rubber for the Super Eagles. We want to see our second best players, who have actually not had minutes in the game, come into it. The likes of Chukwueze, definitely these guys are wingers, and Chukwueze, Chidera Juke, Moses Simon, and Debola Lekman are all identical players. So why is he trying to force what did not work in our first game? Because that's exactly what he did in our first game. Forced Chukwueze to actually play in the heart of the midfield, and actually, made what's his name, Alex Iwobi unable to actually do the distribution properly. What does this even say about Eric Chelle as a manager?
Yeah, what it shows about Eric Chelle's man management is it shows that we see him trying to make a lot of a lot of options, a lot of experiments. And I think I'm worried for a coach who's still making experiments at this stage. We've seen him throughout the World Cup qualifiers and onto the playoffs. And we've seen experiments that actually would have cost the team in in games that they should be winning comfortably. Because you already have the Arsenal, you have the quality in the team. Okay, now you're taking out Wilfred Ndidi. That means you're going to be playing two centre-backs that have never played together before. Igor Ogbu, for instance. And you're going to put somebody in the defensive midfield role who likes to go forward. Except maybe he tells Raphael Edeka, please, we are relying solely on you because these guys have not played together before with the team. They are unfamiliar with each other. And for me, if he knew he was going to make changes, I think Wilfred Ndidi, leaving him on the bench, is a risky one. Wilfred Ndidi and Frank Onyeka as well. We know that Frank Onyeka picked a knock in the game against Tunisia. But with that being said, that means we're going to be having an exposed centre-back position in some very interesting moments of the game. That is, he is an attack-minded coach. He fails to understand that defense is also a part of winning games. Because take a look at what he did. He removed Frank Onyeka and brought in two other attackers when you're already in a winning position. All you just need to do is to secure that victory and play out the game. That's what every good tactician will do. But Eric Chelle fails to do that. Now he's starting a game with players who are not good in playing 10. The midfield now is looking like it's a free for all. Because Dele Bashiru likes to go forward, but he's not a player you can rely on to give the assist and the passes like Alex Iwobi does. Then Onyedika too. Onyedika too is a box-to-box midfielder. But he's not going to stay in that defensive position if the coach does not tell him, your full responsibility, you're going to replace Ndidi, make sure the back line is protected. Then, who else is going to do that? We also have a situation, Samuel Chukwueze, is he going to play the 10th position? Is he going to be effective? Who's going to go to the wings as well? You're overworking him. At the end of the day, we see a situation where he's piling too much on the attack. I think he's relying too much to get maybe quick goals, then maybe bring in somebody else from the midfield. Maybe the likes of Akin Samiro and Nnadi might come in at the end of the day. But I just hope we'll not be in a situation where we'll be pegged back and we'll not be looking for a situation where we're in a hurry to score goals and forget to protect our backline. Let's not forget, Francis Zoe is in goal tonight. It's not Stanley Nwabali.
Wow, not Stanley Nwabali. But Maiwa, I mean, our first game against, the Tanzanians, one of the biggest, reactions after that particular game was the fact that Chelle actually played, these guys out of position. Alex Iwobi struggled in that particular game. Our midfielders were, neither here nor there in that particular game. And then after that particular game against Tunisia, he actually deployed them appropriately. And one of the things, that he did, maybe because he showed too much respect to the Tunisians in that particular game, until the 3 goals came in, and then he decided, to actually start doing his experiments again. Now we are back to square one. The same thing he did in our very first game, the same way he actually lined up these guys in our very first game, is what we're actually seeing today. And the midfield seems to be shaky. They seem not to understand what's happening in this particular game. Maiwa, what does this say about, Chelle's ability to actually lead the Super Eagles, to glory in this particular game? Do you really trust him based on what you're actually seeing in the last 30 minutes of this particular game?
Well, one thing is very clear. I think this is the default formation of Chelle. Against Tunisia, when we were leading, the substitution he made gave us this particular formation we are playing at the moment. You are practically playing a 4-2-4, and that's just it. They call it 4-4-2, but practically what you are doing is you are playing a 4-2-4, 2 midfielders, then 4 attackers, Chukwueze and Moses Simon, joining Paul Onachu and Victor Osihmen in front, and that made our midfield very, very light. Against Tunisia, because he was worried about Medri, taking control of the midfield and them operating the midfield, what they do, bench Chukwueze, bring in, Frank Onyeka, that unlocked, an Iwobi, and, we had Ndidi and Frank Onyeka sitting deep and, doing the job for Iwobi to be able to be free and, leaving our other attackers very free. If you look at the way he has been making his substitution, the first game, he stopped with this same formation. Against Tunisia, after we were leading, after we scored the 3rd goal, the substitution he made in the 75th minute goes with this same formation. I think this is the 4th formation, and I don't understand why he's sticking to this kind of formation. Presently, at the moment, they are practically running us again. They are forcing us back to defend. They are switching play, and they are putting our defenders under a whole lot of pressure because our midfield is non-existent at the moment. I don't understand the reason why he continues to do this, but I think if he will not adjust to stick to the formation that worked against Tunisia and continue to stick to this his default formation that he likes so much, then we might be in trouble. And my fear is this: if we are playing a team that is not as big as the Morocco or the Egypt or the Egypt of this world, or even the Ivory Coast of this world, I'm suspecting in the quarterfinal, in the round of 16, it's probably going to line against like this, and we might struggle in that particular game. It's very obvious we are struggling at the moment playing against the Ugandan side, and this formation does not work. I hope, probably in the second half, it gets to tweak 1 or 2 things and get us back to the formation that works properly. The players we have at the moment cannot play this 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 that is playing at the moment. We do not have the legs to play that formation, and it's not working out.
Absolutely. Still talking about the Super Eagles, and let's look at something very interesting as we continue to look at the Super Eagles' progress in this particular championship. Reports coming in, it says that Victor Osihmen, Ademola Lookman, and of course Stanley Nwabali, not to also forget Semi Ajayi, at risk of a suspension for the upcoming round 16 in 2025 African Cup of Nations if they actually get booked today. That means if the rest of them eventually plays. Of course, Victor Osihmen, like we know, already is on the pitch, and we don't know what will definitely come up. Maybe during the game, Chelle might start to actually field in the rest of them, and if they get booked, definitely they will be out of the round of 16 game, as they are just 1 booking away from suspension. Of course, this situation adds an extra layer of tension to the Super Eagles as they aim to actually progress in a round of 16. Of course, you do not forget that Lookman also received a yellow card during Nigeria's opening against Tanzania, while Osihmen and Ajayi, including Nwabali, also got caution against the Tunisian side. And now we are seeing Victor Osihmen on the pitch. Calvin Bassey is already booked. Maiwa talked earlier on about him not supposed to be part of this particular team. I would have really loved to see Ogbu and Awazim. Like I said, this game is already a dead rubber game. It doesn't change anything. If Super Eagles loses this game, head-to-head, we are better than Tunisia. Tunisia is the only team on 3 points. So there's nothing would have really changed. This is the time where Chelle would have actually just used his players who have actually not played. But then he decided to actually go for this option. Osihmen on the brink, Ademola Lookman on the brink, and of course, Shemi Ajayi. I mean, these guys are very key players. It's good that we're actually seeing 3 of them, arrested in this particular one. But Jerry, tell me exactly what you feel about this.
I think if Paul Onuachu makes it in Super Eagles, I think it will have to be through a miracle. He just had a chance just now. That chance, even the most useless striker in the world will bury that. Because I don't know, Paul Onuachu, I don't know what his plan is. If he knows he doesn't want to play for the Super Eagles, he should tell the coach.
But Osihmen, Jerry.
Okoye peacefully told the coach that you are not going to start me, I'm not coming.
Jerry, it's not fair.
Look at Osihmen did all the work. If I was
Osihmen lost.
It is that
sitters in our first game. He did the same thing in our second game.
The way I look at Onuachu,
I think it's not fair, Jerry.
The way I look at Onuachu, if I were Osihmen, I will not even waste my talent passing that ball to him. I will selfishly still come to the center and bury that ball. I think Osihmen would have done a better job. Because I don't know others. Paul Onuachu, what's the plan? Is it that you don't want to play? Because you are one-on-one with the everything has been done for you. All you just need to do.
Yes, and of course, the Super Eagles just got a goal in this particular game. I don't know why, Jerry, it seems that
he's lucky he has redeemed
himself. No, Jerry.
I think he's lucky because I'm already angry. I was already angry because that ball was look at the opportunity.
Jerry, it's unfair.
No.
We saw how many sitters Osihmen missed in our games.
He's lucky. I would have tested Ogumodede to tell Chelle to take him before 45 minutes. Take him out.
No, Jerry.
But he's lucky. He's lucky he has just scored though. He's lucky.
Jerry, I think it's unfair.
This is first.
It's unfair.
This is first competitive goal for Super Eagles.
It's unfair that you are saying this.
It's not
about
unfair.
A man.
I have to be critical of somebody.
No, this is his first game.
Jerry,
this is the very first game these guys played.
Whatever I'm saying now is for the good. See, if Paul Onuachu is doing well for the Super Eagles, if he's collecting the bonuses and the accolades, he will not call Jerry Apellion to tell him, thank you for encouraging me. He will not share his bonuses with me or whatever it is. So if he fails to do well, I'll call him out. I'll say it because this is a top player who is doing well in the Turkish league. He has been given an opportunity in a very competitive position in the attack of the Super Eagles because there's no opportunity there for him now. Paul Onuachu is even in the pecking order, Desas is even ahead of him as far as I'm concerned. Even the guy in I'm trying to remember his name. The striker that plays in the French league, Terry Murphy, is ahead of him. The pecking order, as far as I'm concerned. Now he's scoring. Yes, as far as I'm concerned. If Terry Murphy is available, fit, and Onuachu is available, I'll pick Terry Murphy even half fit.
Thank God you're not a Chelle. Maiwa, finally, Paul Onuachu have actually, showed us just why his position in this Super Eagles team is justified. Of course, we all talked about him being part of this team because of the number of goals he scored in the Turkish league. He's shown that he's arguably Super Eagles' most informed striker. He has actually done it in his very first game in the AFCON. I mean, he did it alongside Tom Dele Bashiru, who has actually got the assist for him. 2 guys who actually played their very first game in this particular championship. A very good one for Chelle. I mean, this should be, a master stroke, don't you think?
Well, it's a master stroke, I think, and it's a response to Jerry.
Thank you very much.
It's for his own good. It's for his own good.
Yeah. In as much as, a lot of people might find the Jerry criticism of Paul Onuachu very harsh. The truth is this. He has gotten the opportunity before. He did not deliver. And the reason why a lot of people will cut Osihmen some slack is this. He has played for the Super Eagles. Is 5 goals short of, equaling Rashidi Yekini's record. That means he's scoring goals for the Super Eagles. But Onuachu has played for Nigeria over 4-5 times, and he has not been able to do it. Now he's getting the opportunity. He wasted an opportunity, but he's been able to redeem himself. And, like we said, we've clamored that because he's doing well in his club, he deserves an opportunity in the national team. Now he has been able to score the goal. Now the pressure is off his shoulder because, we might sit down and criticize him. Playing for the national team comes with.
He was even going to miss it. He was almost missing going to miss that ball. Look at the way he played the ball. He's top striker.
Look at the way. Boy, he scored.
Look at the way.
Jerry, boy, he scored.
But Jerry scored.
But Jerry scored.
There was a lucky.
What's the scoreline? What's the scoreline?
It was not clinical.
What's the scoreline now?
It was not clinical.
What's the scoreline now?
As a striker, it doesn't say clinical goal.
Jerry, who scored?
Maiwa, I think anybody can even put your leg and score that kind of goal.
Maiwa, who scored?
Anybody can score that goal. Anybody. There's nothing special about the goal.
Maiwa, we all remember Euro 2012.
Yes.
Euro 2012. Fernando Torres was coming off the bench and he won the Golden Boot in that particular championship. Jerry, if Paul Onuachu wins the Golden Boot of this particular,
which of the Golden Boot?
I'm asking a question.
Which of them?
I'm asking a question.
He should be benching. He should bench Osihmen. If he gets the Golden Boot in this AFCON, I would say he should bench Osihmen in the national team.
You say he should bench Osihmen?
Yes, he should be benching Osihmen. If he gets which Golden Boot? Boot where? Anyway,
what if he does it?
He should score a trick in this match first now. Abi? He should score a trick.
He has to start playing before he scores.
He has to score a trick. If he scores a trick in this match, the coach will have no option to start him alongside Osihmen in the next game. Yes, that means he's on his way to score, get the Golden Boot. But as far as I'm concerned, this is just look at that goal now. He almost played that ball.
So Maiwa, let's just leave Jerry. Let's look at the defense line of the Super Eagles in this particular game. Right. I mean, Ryan Alebiosu, he's a man who we've really talked about. I was expecting to actually see, Zedu Sanusi actually do, the business in this particular one. I mean, since the game is actually not, as important. No, Jerry, Maiwa, the reason why I said Zedu Sanusi is that I'm looking at the fact that Bruno Emechi needs to be rested. And, I mean, if he picks up, a card in this particular one, it's not going to be really good, or a knock. It's not going to be good for Super Eagles going into the next round. We've already made it through to the next round. I mean, from the position I stand, even before the goal came in, the Super Eagles are on route to actually become top of the group, right? So why can't we actually just, put him aside, since we know that he's going to be the man who will be riding on in the next round? So that's exactly what I was thinking. But then, I mean, you might have your own opinion. Again, in the heart of the defense, Calvin Bassey, Igor Ogbu, these four guys, tell me, if you're Eric Chelle, who definitely would you be looking at to actually be, in line for the Super Eagles to shield the goalkeeper?
I mean, a Calvin Bassey would have been made to sit down. It's very crucial. His partnership is very crucial. I would have expected, an hour's him to play. We are able to, we've clamored for him. He's done so well for Blackburn Rovers, and he's having this opportunity to be able to play today. For Zedu, the reason why it's not probably it is because I think he's not doing well in training. Remember, the two players we complained about in the first game, one of them made it back. Zedu Sanusi did not make it back. And this is for that. And it's not as if there is not a real Anobiosu there that could have replaced, a Bright Osai Samuel. I guess when they got to training and, they saw the criticism, Osai Samuel stepped up, and that's the reason why he played the second game. And we saw what he did. If, Zedu Sanusi wanted to redeem himself, he have been able to impress the coach enough to be able to bring him in this particular game. And, that goes to show the reason why, a lot of us clamor that why are you doing federal character when we have to pick players. We have to pick players that are, up to standard, and Zedu Sanusi has not been able to do that. So, for me, also, this is also an avenue for Rafael Redika to Bruno Machirada to be able to get his group going. First game we played was second game. However, like you said, you have to be very cautious in terms of, committing fouls and just so that this is a dropper game. There's no need to go too hard, but at least this puts him in the mood, in game mood, and probably it will serve us way better, in the round of 16 because he's playing at the moment. But for Zedu Sanusi, I don't think he has impressed the coach enough. He has impressed the coach enough, he would have probably be playing, and that's the reason why he's not on the pitch.
Jerry, your best choice for the back four for the Super Eagles in this particular game?
Yeah, for the back four, we already know that Calvin Bassey and Shemi Ajayi is non-negotiable as far as the 5 and 6 position is concerned. But Igor Ogbu, I still want to see more of him. He's a player I just like. The fact that he's dogged, he's strong, and he doesn't joke with his chance because he's proven that when he's given the chance, he wants to show that he has the quality. Then for the left back, I think I like what I saw against Tunisia. Bright Osai Samuel and Bruno Yemachi. And of course, those two players have shown that We didn't miss Olaino. I thought we were going to miss Olaino in this one. Imagine, it just looked like there's nothing happened in that right back position that we should be worried about. And I think the coach should be giving kudos for talking to Bright Osihmen, because he's a player who likes to stay up front and forget his duties as a defender. Then he's contributing in that aspect. Then for Zaidu Sanusi, age is already not on his side. And I think the coach should start planning for after Zaidu Sanusi. My slot will not help you to run back and forth 100 meters. You know, you will be looking for water breaks at every time. But Bruno Imachi, fantastic. If Rana Alibiosu does well today, I think the pecking order may be Zaidu Sanusi stepping to number 3. We've already seen what he can do. Zaidu Sanusi is a fantastic player, but his finishing is low. When it comes to the final third, he's always found wanting. Defending, he's just 50-50. He's not 100%, but he's a very, very decent player as far as that is concerned. So we need younger players who can do it. And Ryan is a very, very young player who is very ready to establish himself.
Looking at the back four today, Ryan Alibiosu, Bruno Imechi, you think Bruno Imechi should actually have gotten the nod ahead of Zaidu Sanusi, knowing that this is a dead rubber game? I mean, Zaidu Sanusi has actually fallen behind, in this particular championship as far as Super Eagles is concerned, and then we'll definitely be hoping that Bruno Imechi is fresh for our next game. So, do you think he should actually play ahead of Zaidu Sanusi?
I think what could be at play could be maybe Zaidu Sanusi is not match fit, and he doesn't want to have a player who's not match fit going into that game. He prefers the players already match fit. Let him have that continuity. There are some players, Bruno Imechi, there are some players who need all the games they can get to get them sharper, stronger, and of course more confident. And I think Bruno Imechi is that kind of a player. If we keep on giving him more games, whether you like it or not, he will continue to mature into the team and get used to the team, and he becomes a very vital player in the team. And that's the kind of player Bruno Imechi is. And Eric Chelle understands that for a fact. That is why he doesn't want to risk resting him in this game and not having him sharp in the knockout stages.
So what about Kevin Bassey? Is he supposed to play ahead of Chidozie Awaziem? Because, Kevin Bassey is as important. In fact, I think he's our most important defender so far, after Benjamin Frederick. I would have really loved to see both of them, but unfortunately, he's doing a very decent job now in the absence of Benjamin Frederick and, Jos Ekong. Osihmen Ajayi is absolutely fantastic. He's been rested because, of course, this is not an important game for the Super Eagles. It's not as important as, a lot of persons might actually think it is. But, don't you think it would have really been awesome for the Super Eagles to actually see fresh pair of centre-backs in Chidozie Awaziem and, of course, Igor Ogbu?
Yeah, I like the fact that the coach didn't want to take any risk. I think he saw a lot.
But it's been booked now, and if we go into the next round, if he get booked, that means he's going to be missing the next round.
Chidozie Awaziem did not prove... I would like put it, Eric Chelle wrong that he cannot be fully trusted in the game against Egypt. Though he got a goal in that game, but look at Chidozie Awaziem in a game where people will ask questions, the kind of selection process and so on and so forth. He's looking at a situation. If, for instance, Osihmen Ajayi picks a knock, what will happen? Let's not forget that Osihmen Ajayi is injury prone. If anything happens to Osihmen Ajayi now, who am I going to look forward to? Chidozie Awaziem, I cannot trust him even in the five-a-side game when I have Igor Ogbu there. Igor Ogbu has proven that he's a very dogged player. Chidozie Awaziem, I don't know, he cannot run for 90 minutes with that same energy and strength. And a defender is supposed to be available for 90 minutes, the same strength, the same pace, because you need to be alert, because you always needed to be alert for the full 90 minutes of that game. Chidozie Awaziem is not that kind of a player. And I don't blame Eric Chelle for making that decision to still leave Kevin Bassey and alongside Igor Ogbu, because that will be a like-for-like option if anything happens to any of the defender, whether Kevin Bassey or Osihmen Ajayi. Of course, Chidozie Awaziem cannot be trusted.
Jerry thinks that Kevin Bassey is the right. Eric Chelle's decision to actually play Kevin Bassey is the right one. Do you think so too?
Well, buying the fact that he has a yellow card, and he's been going into tackles very heavy, and it's a bit scary for me. I think buying that fact, I think I would have wanted to see a Chidozie Awaziem. Yes, I think they touched on the particular point which is very, very key. As a defender, one of the things you should do throughout the game, especially as a central defender, is you should not lose concentration. Chidozie was in, battles with loss of concentration. The game against Egypt is an example of that. And, he didn't clothe himself in glory in that particular game. And that was his opportunity, to show Chelle that, he could do the job. And, against Egypt, he was exposed. Yes, he scored. But, obviously the coach already made the decision. So I think because of how important the Calvin Bassey is, and the reason why Calvin Bassey is very, very important is this. Remember what Calvin Bassey did in the first game. Calvin Bassey can also play as a left full back. We saw that against South Africa when the Chelle decided to do some particular magic with the defense, and we saw Calvin Bassey playing from the left full back, and he did a decent job in that particular game. He did the same thing against Tanzania, covering for Zaidu Sanusi in that particular game. That is how important Calvin Bassey is to the defensive structure of Nigeria. So for that reason, I would have said, probably put him on the bench because he starts the risk of getting injured or even getting injured in this game, because the way he's taking this game, he's taking it as if Nigeria needs this game to qualify, and I want him to slow down a bit so he doesn't get injured.
Absolutely. Just so you know, that 43 minutes on the clock, Tunisia also made it 1-0 over, the game against the Taifa Stars of, Tanzania in that particular one. So it means that Tunisia definitely will be qualifying as, the second place team in the Super Eagles if the results, stays the way. If the result stays the same way, in the 90 minutes of this particular game. But of course, let's take a quick dash to the Premier League. Match day 18, is before us, and of course, it's going to be a very interesting one. The biggest fixtures tonight is the game between Arsenal and Aston Villa. And of course, Aston Villa faces a pivotal challenge as they prepare to take on Arsenal right there at the Emirates, with Emirates aiming to maneuver his successor, Mikel Arteta, once again in the Premier League title race. Emirates views this matchup at the Emirates as his team's biggest challenge yet. That's exactly what he said. And of course, especially given an impressive 11-match winning streak. Despite facing tough opponents and overcoming adversity, Villa has demonstrated both mental resilience and tactical prowess, making them a formidable contender for Arsenal. Emirates has downplayed the notion of his teams being title contenders, yet their recent performance suggests otherwise. The upcoming clash presents an opportunity for Villa to not only match up Arsenal's points, but also to reinforce their place among the Premier League's elites. However, the absence of key players, Marty Cash and of course Boubacar Kamara, due to suspensions, might definitely, hamper the squad. But Villa's squad depth, nevertheless, Emirates' ability to actually adapt tactically has showed just why he's one of the best coach in England. Winning against Chelsea highlights his potential to secure a significant victory against the Gunners. This fixture carries additional emotional weight for Emery, who previously struggled during his time at Arsenal, having once beaten the Gunners in the crucial Europa League semi-final. He aims to deliver another blow to Arteta's title aspiration with a mixed record of 2 wins against Arteta in 8 encounters. Of course, Emirates hopes to leverage his tactical acumen to propel Villa forward to their quest for success, reminding everyone that they are a team to be reckoned with in the title race. Jerry, tell me exactly this game. What do you think? Where do you think the pendulum will swing, when the 90 minutes is officially up? Arsenal picking all 3 points. Aston Villa coming to actually do them dirty like they did at, the bridge, or it's just going to be, them calling the truce.
Yeah, if there's any coach who can outwit Mikel Arteta in this one, it has to be Unai Emery. And Unai Emery has a score to settle against Arsenal, the way he left the club side. And of course, Martinez, he takes Arsenal's game very seriously, more seriously than even other games as far as the Prem is concerned. So for Arsenal, they will need as much as possible to make sure that they don't lose concentration. That's what happened against Chelsea for Aston Villa. Chelsea were already riding on just run out the game and get the 3 points. Of course, Oli Watkins, who has been topsy-turvy in terms of his form this season, just showed up and got the 2 goals. That could be the situation tonight. And of course, let's not forget they have Rodgers, who can also punish you. And for this Aston Villa side, they've proven to be the dark horse as far as the title race is concerned. Who knows? They might outwit Arsenal tonight at the Emirates Stadium. But for Mikel Arteta, he has all the firepower. He should be bearing games like this. But it's not about that. It's about every team has their own boogie team. And it looks like Aston Villa has come to stay as far as the boogie team for Arsenal is concerned. But it's going to be a killing contested one. But something tells me that Aston Villa might pick this one.
Something tells you that Aston Villa might pick this one. Maiwa, tell me, what does the what are you actually feeling within inside of you? Who is going to actually pick this one? Look at Aston Villa's record, 11 winning streak, and of course, not to also forget that actually on the verge of getting, already 28 games across all competitions so far this season in their, at the Villa Park. Of course, this game will be played at the Emirates. And if there's one more, like Jerry said, that can actually outwit Mikel Arteta, is Emery. It seems like every single time he's coming up against Arsenal, there's this vindictiveness in him. I mean, he wants to actually prove to the board of Arsenal that you guys made a mistake to fire me. Is it going to also remain the same tonight, or he might just meet something different with Big Gabby returning to the starting lineup of Arsenal?
Well, two things will happen tonight. I know my wife will be very happy with this. Tonight is the night Arsenal loses their title because Aston Villa is going to probably win tonight. If you look at how Arsenal has been playing, and they've been struggling to win, and probably a lot of people might say that's the hallmark of a top team. Even when you're not playing well, you try and win your games. But if you look at the Arsenal side, I think they've been struggling, and I think tonight is the night their luck runs out. So that is going to happen. Aston Villa will probably win this particular game, and the worst that can happen if they don't win, the worst that probably happen is probably a draw. I don't see an Arsenal win this particular game. Another thing that will happen is this: by the end of 90 minutes, Manchester United will be ahead of Liverpool after 90 minutes.
Who is Man United?
That I'm very sure will happen today.
Wolves. If you beat Wolves now.
Well, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what exactly you guys are actually feeling. But I think for me, right, this particular game might just be one of those games. Arsenal will show just why they are in front running to actually win the Premier. I'll tell you why. Games you expect Arsenal to not win. Arsenal is like Super Eagles. Arsenal is like Super Eagles. They'll step in and get all 3 points. And this is one of those games a lot of persons looking at, Aston Villa's record so far, looking at Aston Villa.
That's how it was last season.
Most likely to actually upset them.
But Arsenal not to win against Aston Villa because Aston Villa still beat them home and away. I think it was last season, yeah. So this time around, it can still happen. So there's nothing. Arsenal, you shouldn't be surprised. Anyway. Well, they know themselves, so I don't even need to talk.
Of course, the first half in both centers, talking about the Tunisia and Tanzania game, and the Super Eagles and Uganda game is still very much 1-0. And of course, this almost halftime in that particular one. And this is exactly where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's episode of The Locker Room. It's great to have you guys join me in this particular episode.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And I wish Arsenal can call on the slot to ask him how he did it, how he beat Aston Villa. Then the formula will be released to them. I know that is what to beat Aston Villa too. Thank you very much.
All right, Mama, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, it's just amazing to be here. And by tomorrow, Man United will be ahead of Liverpool, and we expect Liverpool to lose tomorrow.
All right, so definitely we'll be here to actually give you the result of those games, as well as the game going on between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Cranes of Uganda. Of course, do not go anywhere because the next show is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro and Ikechukwu Aguago. Stay tuned.
The 2564 is coming up on Maritime, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings?